You know that feeling when you wake up from a nightmare, and for just a moment, you're not sure what's real? Your heart is hammering against your ribs, your sheets are soaked with sweat, and the images from your dream are still so vivid they feel like memories instead of fiction. That used to happen to me every few months, then every few weeks, then every single night. My name is Sarah, and for 3 years I had the same nightmare, exactly the same, frame for frame, like watching a movie I'd seen 1,000 times but could never turn off. It always started the same way. I'd be standing in a hallway, not my hallway, somewhere else. Somewhere old. The walls were covered in peeling wallpaper with a pattern I could never quite make out, like my brain refused to let me see it clearly. The floorboards were dark wood, warped and creaking, and there were doors on either side of me, dozens of them, all closed. The air always smelled like dust and something else, something sweet and rotting, like flowers left too long in a vase. And then I'd hear it. Tap, tap, tap. Footsteps, coming from somewhere behind me, somewhere in the darkness at the end of the hall where the light bulbs had burned out or maybe never existed at all. Tap, tap, tap. Not the sound of shoes, not the soft padding of bare feet. This was different, harder, sharper, like sticks being struck against the wooden floor. Like bones. In the dream, I'd start walking, not running, not yet, just walking quickly, my hand trailing along the wall, trying each doorknob as I passed. Locked. Every single one of them locked. And behind me, those footsteps would continue, never faster, never slower, but always keeping pace with me. Tap, tap, tap. That's when I'd start running. The hallway would stretch out before me, impossibly long, and no matter how fast I ran, those footsteps stayed the same distance behind me, close enough that I could hear them over my own gasping breaths. Close enough that if I stopped, even for a second, whatever was making that sound would catch me. I never looked back, not once in 3 years. Some instinct, some primal understanding, told me that looking back would be the worst mistake I could ever make. The hall would go on forever, doors blurring past me on either side, all locked, all useless, and then suddenly, just when I thought my lungs would burst and my legs would give out, I'd see it. A door at the end of the hall, different from the others. This one was slightly open, warm light spilling out from the gap, and I'd throw myself toward it with everything I had left. My hand would close around the doorknob, and that's when I'd feel it. Fingers on my shoulder, not warm fingers, not human fingers. These were cold and hard and impossibly thin, and they'd wrap around my shoulder with a grip like iron, and I'd hear breathing right behind my ear, wet, rattling breathing that smelled like grave dirt and decay. Then I'd wake up screaming. Every single time. I tried everything. I stopped watching horror movies. I stopped eating before bed. I tried sleeping pills, therapy, meditation apps, white noise machines. Nothing worked. The dream came every night, exactly the same. And every morning I'd wake up with my throat raw from screaming, and my shoulder aching where those fingers had grabbed me. The ache always faded by mid-morning. I told myself it was psychosomatic, your mind playing tricks on you, phantom pain from a phantom nightmare. But 3 weeks ago, something changed. I woke up from the dream the same as always, gasping, sitting bolt upright in bed, my tank top soaked through with sweat. My bedroom was dark except for the blue glow of my alarm clock. 3:47 a.m. It was always 3:47 a.m. I sat there in the darkness, trying to calm my breathing, waiting for my heart to stop trying to break through my rib cage. That's when I noticed something on my shoulder. Scratches. 4 parallel scratches, angry and red against my pale skin, exactly where those skeletal fingers had grabbed me in the dream. I rushed to the bathroom and examined them under the light. They weren't deep, more like surface scratches, the kind you might get from a cat. But I didn't have a cat. I didn't have any pets. And I sure as hell hadn't scratched myself. I told myself I must have done it in my sleep. I checked my fingernails. Short, clean, recently trimmed. They couldn't have made those marks. I put antiseptic on the scratches and went back to bed, but I didn't sleep. I couldn't. I lay there in the darkness, listening to every creak and groan of my apartment, my eyes fixed on the doorway to my bedroom, waiting for something to appear in the shadows. Nothing did. The next night, the dream came again. The same hallway, the same locked doors, the same footsteps behind me. Tap, tap, tap. But this time, when those fingers grabbed my shoulder, I felt something else. A voice, soft and papery, whispered right into my ear, "You can't run forever." I woke up screaming louder than I ever had before. The scratches on my shoulder had opened up again, fresh blood seeping through my tank top, and now there was something else. Scratches on my bedroom floor. 4 parallel gouges in the hardwood, starting from my bedside and dragging toward the door, like something had crawled across my floor while I slept. I took pictures. I measured them. The marks were too far apart to be from my hands. The gouges were too deep to be from fingernails. I called my landlord the next morning, told him I had a pest problem, maybe rats. He sent someone over to check. The exterminator walked through my apartment, checked every corner, every baseboard, every possible entry point. "Ma'am," he said finally, his face a mask of professional courtesy hiding something else. Confusion, maybe concern. "You don't have rats. You don't have any pests at all. But those marks on your floor..." He trailed off, crouching down to examine them more closely. "I've never seen anything like this. Almost looks like something was trying to dig through the wood." After he left, I stood in my bedroom, staring at those scratches, and felt cold creep up my spine. That night, I decided not to sleep. I'd stay awake, I told myself. I'd drink coffee, watch TV, keep every light in the apartment on. Whatever was happening, it happened when I was asleep, so I just wouldn't sleep. I made it until 2 a.m. I remember sitting on my couch, a true crime documentary playing on my laptop, my third cup of coffee growing cold in my hand. My eyes were burning, my head was nodding forward, and I told myself just to close them for a second. Just 1 second. When I opened them, I was standing in my kitchen. The lights were off. The apartment was silent except for the sound of my own breathing and the hum of the refrigerator. My laptop was closed on the couch behind me, the TV off. I'd been sleepwalking. I never sleepwalked. Not once in my entire life. My hands were shaking as I turned on the kitchen light, and that's when I saw it. On the kitchen floor, written in what looked like dust or ash, were the words, "Almost caught you." I didn't sleep for 3 days after that. I stayed at my friend Rachel's house, told her I was having some work done on my apartment. I couldn't tell her the truth. What would I even say? That my nightmare was somehow bleeding into reality? That something from my dreams was leaving me messages in my kitchen? She would have thought I was losing my mind. Maybe I was. On the 3rd night at Rachel's, exhaustion finally overtook fear. I fell asleep on her couch during a movie, and the dream came for me. The same hallway, the same doors, the same footsteps. Tap, tap, tap. But this time, something was different. The wallpaper on the walls, the pattern I could never quite see clearly, suddenly came into focus. And I wished it hadn't. It was bones. The wallpaper was a pattern of interlocking bones. Like some Victorian anatomical drawing repeated endlessly. Femurs and rib cages, vertebrae and skulls, all twisted together in an impossible design that hurt to look at. And the footsteps behind me were faster now. Time tap, tap, tap. I ran, my feet pounding against the floor, my breath coming in ragged gasps, and the doors on either side of me started to open, just a crack, just enough for me to see darkness beyond them. And in that darkness, pairs of eyes watching me run past. The door at the end of the hall was still there, still open, still spilling that warm, inviting light. But now I could see what was beyond it. My apartment, my bedroom. It was my bedroom door I'd been running toward all along. I grabbed the doorknob, desperate to escape into the light, into safety, and the cold fingers grabbed my shoulder again, harder this time, sharp enough that I felt something crack. And then I felt myself being turned around. "Look at me," that papery voice whispered. "You have to look at me." I didn't want to. God, I didn't want to. But in the dream, I had no choice. My body moved on its own, turning slowly, and I saw. I woke up on Rachel's bathroom floor. I'd crawled there in my sleep, apparently, and wedged myself between the toilet and the wall. My shoulder was bleeding through my shirt, and my right collarbone was bruised black and purple, like someone had grabbed it and squeezed. Rachel found me there and insisted on taking me to the hospital. The ER doctor couldn't explain the bruising. He asked if I'd been in an accident, if someone had hurt me. I told him no, which was technically true. He prescribed pain medication and suggested I see a therapist. I already had a therapist. I'd been seeing Dr. Patricia Brennan for 2 years, trying to unpack why I had this recurring nightmare. After the ER visit, I called and made an emergency appointment. "Sarah?" she said, after I'd told her everything, the scratches, the messages, the sleepwalking. "I think we need to consider the possibility that you're experiencing a severe dissociative episode. The stress of the recurring nightmare might be causing you to hurt yourself without realizing it." "I'm not hurting myself," I said, my voice sharper than I intended. "Something is doing this to me." "Is it possible," she said gently, "that the something is you? That this is a manifestation of your subconscious trying to tell you something?" I left without scheduling another appointment. That night, I went home, to my apartment, to my bedroom. I was done running. I was done hiding. Whatever this was, whatever was happening to me, I needed to face it. I set up my laptop to record while I slept. I positioned it on my dresser, angled toward my bed, and pressed record. Then I lay down and waited for sleep to take me. The dream came quickly this time, like it had been waiting for me. The hallway, the doors, the footsteps. Time, tap, tap. But now the hallway was shorter, the door at the end was closer, and behind me, the footsteps were so close I could hear the clicking and scraping of bone on wood with each step. I ran for the door, my bedroom door, and burst through it. And I was in my bedroom. But I was also still dreaming. I could see myself lying on my bed, eyes closed, chest rising and falling with slow breaths. The laptop on my dresser, its light blinking red, recording. Standing at the foot of my bed was the skeleton. It wasn't just bones, not quite. There was something else to it, something that defied description. The bones were yellowed and ancient, held together by shadows, and something that might have been dried sinew. Its skull was too large, its jaw hanging open at an unnatural angle, and in its eye sockets were pinpricks of light like dying stars. It was looking at me, not at my sleeping body but at my dream self, standing in the doorway. "Finally," it said, and its voice was every nightmare I'd ever had given sound. "You looked!" I tried to scream but no sound came out. I tried to run but my legs wouldn't move. The skeleton tilted its head, studying me. "You've been running from me for so long," it said, "through your dreams, through your waking life. But you can't run from what's inside you." "What do you want?" I managed to whisper. It took a step toward me, its bones clicking softly. "I am what you made me. Every fear, every anxiety, every moment of dread you've ever felt, given form and purpose. You've been feeding me for years, Sarah. Every nightmare, every sleepless night, every drop of terror, and now I'm strong enough to exist outside your dreams." "That's impossible," I said. "Is it?" The skeleton gestured around the room. "You're asleep right now, but I'm here, really here. And when you wake up, I'll still be here. In your shadows. In your periphery, always following. Always waiting. Because you can't unfeel fear. You can't unknow terror. And as long as you're afraid, I exist." It moved closer, reaching out one skeletal hand toward my sleeping form. "No!" I shouted, and finally, my body listened. I lunged forward, putting myself between the skeleton and my sleeping body, and I woke up. My bedroom was dark. The laptop was still recording, its light still blinking. I was alone. My hands were shaking as I grabbed the laptop and pulled up the video file. I skipped ahead to where I'd fallen asleep and watched with growing horror. For the first hour, nothing happened. Just me, sleeping restlessly. Then, at 3:47 a.m., something changed. The shadows in the corner of my room deepened, lengthened. And from those shadows, something emerged. "Stop." I watched myself on the video sit up in bed, still asleep, my eyes open but unseeing. I watched myself turn toward the corner, toward the shadows, and I watched as something stepped forward into the dim light. The skeleton. It moved toward my sleeping form with an unnatural gait, bones clicking softly. It reached out and touched my shoulder, and on the video, I saw blood begin to seep through my shirt where it touched me. Then the me on the video spoke, not in my voice, but in that papery, horrible voice from my dreams. "We're going to be together forever now," I said. "You and me, one being, one nightmare." On the video, I, or the thing controlling me, stood up and walked to the camera. My face was slack, emotionless, but my eyes were wrong. They reflected light like an animal's eyes, shining in the darkness. I reached toward the camera, my fingers entering the frame, and then the video cut to static. When it resumed, 30 seconds later, I was back in bed, asleep. The corner was empty, the room was still. But I knew the truth. That was 2 weeks ago. I haven't slept since I watched that video. Not really. I doze sometimes, for minutes at a time, but I always wake up somewhere else in my apartment. I find things moved. Messages written on foggy mirrors, my reflection catching glimpses of something standing behind me, something that shouldn't be there. The scratches come daily now, sometimes hourly, my shoulders, my arms, my back, and every night at 3:47 a.m. I hear them. Tap, tap, tap. Footsteps in my apartment, moving through the darkness, always getting closer. I've tried leaving. I packed a bag and went to a hotel. The footsteps followed me there. I stayed with Rachel again. The scratches appeared while I was on her couch. Dr. Brennan was wrong. This isn't a dissociative episode. This isn't my subconscious. This is something else. Something I created through years of fear and feeding it with my terror every single night. And now it's strong enough to exist without me sleeping. Last night, I finally looked in the corner where the skeleton emerged on the video. Really looked, with all the lights on, in the bright clarity of afternoon sun. There were scratch marks in the wall, deep ones, like something had been trying to claw its way out of the wallpaper. And the wallpaper had a pattern on it. Bones. Interlocking bones in an impossible design. I don't remember when I put up that wallpaper. I don't remember buying it, but it's there, in every room now, slowly spreading like a fungus. Like the dream is infecting my waking world 1 inch at a time. Tonight, I'm not gonna run. I'm not gonna fight. I'm gonna do something I should have done years ago. I'm gonna turn around and look at it, really look at it, face it completely. Maybe Dr. Brennan was partially right. Maybe you can't run from your fears. Maybe you have to face them, accept them, integrate them into yourself. Or maybe, and I think this is more likely, maybe when you feed something with fear for long enough, when you give it substance and form through years of nightmares, it becomes real. And once it's real, it's always going to be real. It's 3:46 a.m. right now. I can hear the footsteps starting down the hall. Tap, tap, tap. They're closer than they've ever been, close enough that I can smell that sweet, rotting smell, close enough that I can hear that wet, rattling breathing. The corner of my room is growing darker, the shadows are deepening, lengthening, and something is emerging from them, something old and bone-white and hungry. I'm not going to look away this time. I'm going to turn around and face it. And whatever happens next, I'll finally know what happens when the nightmare catches you.
Thanks for watching. Every ending hides the beginning of another tale, and ours is already on its way. Stay tuned, you'll find the next chapter right here, and soon.